me and Nellie were out investigating. We followed Barbara's route. We found out she went up to that bar.
Barbara's in a bar at closing time, gets into an argument with two individuals.
We knew she was missing. That's all we knew.
We could not find any footprints of life for Barbara after she left Renegades.
They were going straight across Highway 22. He saw the passenger side door open, and there was a woman who appeared to be naked trying to get out of the truck.
I'm worried that she's not all right, like she could be hurt or even dead, because I fear the worst.
Welcome to Crime Beat. I'm Anthony Robart. A night out ends in turmoil as a young woman vanishes. Loved ones held out hope that the aspiring nurse would be found safe, but after months of searching, that hope was shattered. With a murder investigation underway, detectives race to find the truth behind the shocking details of this murder mystery. Here now is Nancy Hixt with Last Call.
Early one morning in 2002, the driver of a semi-truck was navigating snowy roads when he noticed a vehicle driving erratically. The trucker then saw a naked woman hanging out of the passenger door. He figured the occupants had been drinking, and soon after, the vehicle drove out of his sight. More than a week later, while reading a local newspaper, he made a startling connection between what he saw and a mysterious case that had been unfolding in Calgary.
So the family members of Barbara Iapes called us, and they were concerned because they hadn't seen her in a few days, hadn't heard from her in a few days. Barbara had a scheduled appointment with her dad at a bank, and her dad called us and said, like, it is very, very unusual that she wouldn't have attended, and if she wasn't going to attend, she certainly would have contacted him, and the fact that she didn't show up, she didn't contact him, it was a concern. They didn't know what happened, if anything, but she just hadn't been seen in a bit, and they were concerned.
But I also knew of Barbara's way. She was always, if she was said she'd be somewhere, she'd keep her word. Well, Nellie was getting all panicky for a day or two. I said, just relax. If she's not back for her job Monday, then we'll do something. Well, she didn't come back for her job. So then I said, okay, well, we'll do something. So I went down and talked to the detectives.
As investigators retraced Barbara's steps, they realized none of her family or friends had seen or heard from her since January 17th.
It was actually my mom that phoned me, and she was just hysterical, kind of just saying that she was gone, and that wasn't like her, right? Like, she always was in touch with my mom, always in touch with my dad, my aunt.
So when we interviewed Barbara's mom, we knew that they had been out together, they had been drinking at a Legion downtown, that they had left that place together and they had gone to another bar, the Cecil Hotel downtown, and that later on, after a few drinks, that Barbara's mom left and Barbara was still there with some other individuals. When the mom couldn't get a hold of Barbara, she started doing her own investigation. She found out that Barbara had gone to Renegade's bar from the Cecil via cab, and that it was actually a group of them that had left the Cecil and went to Renegade's. The inquiries at Renegades indicated that Barbara had gone into some type of altercation, argument with two males. It seemed to be over her accusing them of stealing $25 and that she needed that money because that was her cab money to get back home. And that seemed to be the gist of this particular dispute that was going on. I can only think that it was probably a substantial argument if people are noticing it. And if that's your cab fare to get home and somebody's taken it and now you're stranded, somewhere, like I can see where somebody obviously would be upset. The manager said that there was an off-duty doorman bouncer that had given Barbara a ride home. He said that he gave her a ride home. He also said, though, that there were some other individuals that seemed to be involved in this story somehow, that when he gave her a ride home, that there were some other people that were there, and they were the people from the bar. So it was pretty clear that he has some information, and we need to get that information from him.
Calgary Police Detective Len Howland was assigned to work on the missing persons case. His first task was to interview the bar's bouncer, who was now considered a key witness in the investigation.
His statement was that she was incredibly intoxicated. She had no money. She said that someone had taken it. He was in there on his day off. So he technically wasn't working, he was in there as a patron, but he volunteered to drive her home. And he said that he drove her from the bar to her home, and he mentioned that he thought someone was following him from the bar, but he dropped her off at her home where she told him it was. He saw a couple of guys get out of a car.
This witness told police it was the same two men Barbara had been seen arguing with at the bar, and he didn't want to get involved in an altercation, so he left.
And he drove me on the route that he took to take her home. When he dropped her off, it was at the intersection, which was about 3 houses from her home, not in front of the house. He's even stronger in his description of having been followed, a couple of guys, and he watched them get out of their vehicle. They started arguing with Barbara, and he drove away.
Well, certainly red flags for us. You know, Barbara's in a bar at closing time, gets into an argument with 2 individuals, and those 2 individuals somehow show up at her house.
Then came disturbing reports of gunfire aimed at the bouncer.
I heard my window go. He found me, he took a shot, he missed, I got away.
Well, this is a significant concern, and it's really an escalation.
Welcome back to Crime Beat. As police investigate the disappearance of Barbara Iapace, they are confronted with conflicting stories about her final hours. That is, until key evidence came to light from an unexpected eyewitness. Here again is Nancy Hixt with Last Call.
So I'll keep burning for her till I hear something, you know.
Nellie Iapace kept a candle burning for her missing daughter Barbara as a sign of hope that she'd be found safe.
Nobody's seen her or heard from her or anything. You know, that's not like Barbara. She would have got in contact with one of us.
Barbara was working as a waitress at a downtown Calgary restaurant and had recently been accepted into a nursing program. Just days before her disappearance, she had spent time with her family.
Well, that's when she came over, cooked that beautiful meal, and I walked her outside. She had a bike. She only lived a few blocks away.
With every day that passed, Barbara's family became more fearful.
I'm worried that she's not all right, like she could be hurt or even dead, because I fear the worst.
Just the not knowing, like no one knew anything. Not knowing is the worst, right? Because it could be anything. My mother said that she got a call from the bar manager and said that Barb was there at the club and that she was gonna be getting a ride home from one of the staff members. But that was all she said, and that's all she knew, but she never showed up.
You know, I can't imagine what it's like for the family when you've got your 24-year-old that's gone missing and you had just been out with her just before she went missing. So the family, as they're trying to help and they're trying to get information, they also know about this argument that took place in the bar. They're talking to family and friends. They're getting some of this information and they are very convinced that these two individuals must be responsible because they're the only ones that anybody saw Barbara have a conflict with. They now show up at her house, parked outside, and you now have the bouncer claiming that his window was shot out by them. So, like, this is definitely an escalation in this particular investigation.
The bouncer went to his local police station and provided officers with a description of the suspect vehicle and details of what happened.
It was a royal blue Honda, 4-door with a sunroof. That was the same car that was at her house when I pulled up. And I seen him hold his hand out, and I seen the gun in his hand.
What type of gun?
Black.
Handgun, long gun?
Handgun.
Handgun?
Yeah, I heard my window go.
So you heard the window go?
Yeah.
But did you actually hear the
shot? Yes, I
the
did.
shot? Okay.
So he found me, he took his shot, and he missed. I got away.
The bouncer told police he was targeted because he could identify the men responsible for Barbara's disappearance.
This guy has a motive. I can identify him.
Right.
I'm pretty interested in catching this person, whoever, whatever he did with Barbara.
Sure.
I feel kind of responsible because I had the choice. I could have got out of my truck and grabbed those two guys and smacked them around and they would have left. But instead I just drove off and she went with them, I guess.
The witness volunteered to have police examine his truck to help them find the person responsible for the shooting.
There was a substantial amount of investigative work that went into this, and in particular into trying to identify these two individuals, but we did. And we were able to go and interview both of those males that Barbara had that argument with. We interviewed them separately. Their stories were very similar, and their story was that they did leave the bar, but they left the bar in a cab, and they gave us a cab number. When we tracked down their alibi, it seems to check out. We got a taxi receipt that indicated that in fact they did take a taxi. We talked to the roommates that said, yes, this is when they showed up. And so we've got two conflicting stories going on here. We're not really sure what's going on, but it appears that these males are not involved in her disappearance.
And then another startling development.
We were able to determine that there's no way that that vehicle was shot at. So we had our forensic crime scenes unit look at that window, and it was broken for sure, but they were able to determine that it was not shot out, that it looked like it was some type of instrument that had broken it. It definitely was not broken by a bullet. That part of the story that he provided, there's something wrong there because that is not accurate.
Why would Fred Abma, the Renegade's bouncer, lie to officers about a missing persons investigation?
There's so many conversations with him. He's starting to get suspicious that maybe we think he's a suspect. And he says that we need to talk to his friend, where he went after he had dropped the victim off. I went and talked to that friend and got a written alibi, a statement, stating that Mr. Abma had been to that house from like 2:30 till 4:30 in the morning on the 18th, so we have an alibi.
By now, Barbara's case had become front-page news, but what happened to her remained a mystery.
It's pretty clear that somebody's lying to us, and so we need to figure out who that is. We could not find any footprints of life for Barbara after she left Renegades. So when we looked at banking information, there was no banking information. She had a job, she didn't show up to her job. We already know that she had not contacted her family. We know that she had missed that appointment with her dad. All of these pieces coming together causes us great concern that something more has happened to Barbara.
That's when police finally got a break in the case. Just over a week after Barbara Iapace vanished, the investigation unraveled in an entirely new direction. A semi-truck driver came forward to police to report a shocking scene on the highway early in the morning of January 18th, just hours after Barbara was last seen leaving Renegade's bar.
We got a witness statement from the RCMP that originated from a truck driver who had seen a suspicious vehicle out south of Langdon. It was nighttime, it was snowing, and he was behind this pickup truck. This truck driver said that he had seen a woman trying to get out of the passenger side cab of the truck. He's thinking this is strange, his brain clicks. He gets a hold of the RCMP, he provides a statement.
The truck driver had seen a newspaper article about the missing persons case in Calgary and said he believed the woman he saw could have been Barbara Iapace.
You saw somebody's picture in a newspaper?
Yeah.
And where was that? Where did you see this?
It was in the Sunday Sun.
The Calgary Sun?
Yeah.
And it was the picture that drew your attention?
Yeah, because I got quite a good look at her.
The trucker took police on the exact route he drove that night.
When you say you saw him weaving,
yeah,
like on the other side of the line?
Yeah.
Was that, so you'd speed up, slow down, if what I understand is correct?
Yeah. He was sitting up in front of me here.
In this lane?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was checking traffic at the time, and I wasn't paying any attention to them.
Uh-huh.
And then when I looked up again, they were right in the middle of the road here.
That's when it appeared the woman tried to get out of the truck.
She had the door wide open. She had her feet stuck right against the side of it. And she had to be sitting right on the edge of the seat.
Right on the edge of the seat,
oh, yeah. And I turned the corner here, and I stopped, and I watched them to see what they were going to do. And he just kept going, and the snow was flying up so bad. And she hadn't closed the door yet. Because I was thinking I should have followed them, but I was already in the motion to turn, so I didn't want to block the lane.
And what did you notice about the truck, the back of the truck, that you can tell me?
Well, there was one taillight out on it.
Which one was that?
On the left side.
Okay.
An older model blue Dodge Dakota pickup with a burned out taillight. He's following them along, and when they get to Langdon, they turn right, head south. When they're about to cross, they were going straight across Highway 22, he saw the passenger side door open, and there was a woman who appeared to be naked trying to get out of the truck.
The bouncer who gave Barbara a ride home from the bar, Fred Abma, drove a dark blue Dodge half-ton truck.
We got a witness describing a vehicle that's the same description as what the witness that I drove around had. This vehicle, another witness had seen a woman trying to get out of it. We've got a missing person case where the witness that owns a pickup truck admitted that he drove her home in it.
Police put out a press release stating there was new information on the disappearance of Barbara Iapace.
May have been a dark-colored pickup truck in this line of traffic, and we've been told there were two people in this truck that were attracting the attention of other motorists. So we're asking if anyone has seen this or has any information regarding this truck, if they could give us a call.
So what we released to the media as a follow-up was a description of this truck, including the fact that the truck had a burnt-out taillight. We released the fact that there was two occupants of the vehicle, and they seemed to be in some type of altercation, and we released the time and the location of this vehicle. What we didn't release, and what was holdback for us, was the fact that the truck driver saw a female trying to get out of the vehicle and through that door and then being pulled back. And so that's the piece that we held back in this particular case.
By now, Mr. Abma is a suspect. We've got people following him 24/7. Well, then we would watch Mr. Abma. He fixed his taillight the next morning when the information came out in the paper.
Certainly this is looking suspicious.
Just over a month after Barbara Iapace vanished, searchers began scouring the countryside east of Calgary.
Looking for things that are unusual, out of place, and that's the job that we do.
So as we track Barbara's whereabouts as best we can, we know she left Renegades, and then we suspect that a few hours later at 4 o'clock in the morning that she was seen in that truck trying to get out. So what we did was the investigators arranged for a search of that particular area.
So we started searching south of Langdon. Huge area. Some of us were out there on our own time, drive around just trying to see what the lay of the land and stuff. We got the search and rescue teams out there, and we searched along the highway, back a few hundred feet, looking for small items. So like it wasn't, we weren't looking for big items, we were looking for anything we could find.
The search continued for weeks.
Well, we have found some items, but we don't know their significance or relevance to the investigation. That'll be done at a later time. We're just going to collect everything that we can, and our ident people will be examined thoroughly afterwards.
But there was still no sign of Barbara.
We had a belief that she was no longer alive, and we were determined to do everything we could to find her killer. I was giving news releases, like I met with the reporters in a parking lot by my home, or in the office, or out at Renegades and stuff like that. Like, it was just constant. So this is where Renegades used to be. The bar's gone. The main entrance would have been there where that chipboard's on the wall.
Detective Howland stayed in constant contact with the Renegades bouncer, Fred Abma, never letting on that he was considered a suspect.
So what do you think happened? You're the last person to see our victim. What do you think happened? Nothing that Abma was telling us made sense. All I did was raise suspicions.
What Abma didn't realize was that covert officers were watching him 24/7. He spent time establishing his own business called Fast Fred's.
He was delivering appliances. It might have been a dryer, some kind of appliance he had delivered to a location of ours.
At that seemingly chance meeting, Fred Abma struck up a conversation and jumped at a chance to discuss possible business opportunities over drinks at a Calgary bar.
If you and I, are able to help me out occasionally, I'll do what I can for you. And that's, I'll go, it goes two ways, right? That's the way in my case. That's the way life is.
Throughout the entire investigation, the investigators are continuing to look to see if there's other investigative strategies that they could use. It's been months now, and we still have had no signs of life from Barbara, and we're not moving the investigation further. The investigators make a very bold choice to see if they could introduce undercover operators into Abma's life.
I got buddies who cut corners, and they call in favors, and you know what? You deliver? Yes. And you know what? It adds to me, it adds up to a couple hundred to a couple thousand a month. That's pretty good on your table cash. Right now, I need $1,200 to do this for my truck. I don't have it. That's something where I can maybe help you out.
They were happy to involve Mr. Abma, and they would pay him cash for small jobs that he would do. And this is how the friendship developed. What always happens in these operations is that the undercover officers want to gain the trust of their target. They want the target to fully believe that they are criminals.
At the time, we were given very limited information, or at least I was. And the reason we have limited information is to protect the integrity of the investigation so that we don't know what happened, right? I was aware that a woman by the name of Barbara Iapace was missing, and it was believed that she may have been the victim of a homicide, and that Mr. Abma was the suspect that the homicide detectives had identified.
It's a tough file, and even though Abma has been lying to us and he's a suspect, we need evidence. It's not good enough just to say he lied. We need evidence. We need to find Barbara, and or we need some other break in this particular case.
Exactly 2 months after Barbara Iapace disappeared, family, friends, and strangers gathered for a candlelight vigil.
I'm just taking it a day at a time, like day by day. Like it's hard. It's really hard not knowing. And this cold weather doesn't help. Like, you know, worry about where she could be, where she's going to be cold. You know, but I just feel that there's something wrong because she would have been trying to contact someone, any one of us.
As time passed, Barbara's mother found it hard to stay positive.
I have hopes that they'll find her and find out what happened to her, but I don't think I'll see my girl alive again. I just, you know, I just have that feeling.
After, you know, a month or two goes by, you basically know it's only can turn out one way, right?
Police continued to search east of the city, where the semi-truck driver believed he saw Barbara trying to escape from a vehicle.
So now we arranged for more of our search and rescue teams. They come out. They were out, I think, total of 3 times. One time we must have had 50 members out there, like walking the bush and down by the river and stuff like that. We needed to go over that land because you can hide a body behind a tree. And we believed that she was out in that area. On our own time, like when we're not scheduled to work, let's go look.
At this point, the undercover operation targeting the bouncer, Fred Abma, was well underway.
Mr. Abma, I believe, at least at that point in time, may have started to feel that he was in the clear because nothing was being said anymore on the news or media. The police weren't hounding him.
That's what you have to do. You got to keep doing things. I'll tell you to prove yourself. I got nothing to hide, and I ain't embarrassed for shame. No, man, I'll do it.
Then, 3.5 months after Barbara Iapace vanished.
On the 27th of April, we got a phone call that a fisherman had found a body in the Bow River, south of Langdon.
Investigators drove about an hour southeast of Calgary to investigate further, to the south shore of the river near Wyndham-Carsland Provincial Park.
We had help from Fish and Wildlife. They provided a boat, an operator that we got her on the boat, and they took her over to a wharf where they could load her in the coroner's van.
Rather than get people's hopes up or not, we're going to wait until the ME tells us who the victim is.
So after the remains were located, we did send out a media release with regards to that, just that we located the remains. And then we saw a newspaper article that actually came out that talked about what we released, but also put in some additional information in there. It talked about the truck driver and that particular tip, and it also quoted Abma in that article. But what was of interest to us in particular was the fact that in the article, it talked about a female trying to get out of a passenger window of a truck.
They were following up a report of a partially nude woman seen struggling and hanging out of the passenger window of a moving pickup truck along Highway 22X.
And that was supposedly a tip that had come from the truck driver. That was not information we had released. And in fact, it wasn't accurate. As we know, she was a female was trying to get out of the door, not the window. So for us, it was inaccurate, and we just let it play.
I know it's her.
Even without official confirmation, Nellie Iapace felt in her heart that the body recovered from the river was Barbara.
Something told me that she was in the water. I just got it. I don't know. You know, mother's intuition, I guess you'd call it, but I just knew she was in the water somewhere.
That's when she blew out the candle she had kept lit for her daughter.
And in this particular case, it took dental records and skeletal records to confirm that, in fact, the body the fisherman saw was Barbara. As far as cause of death goes, the medical examiner said it was really undetermined, but he couldn't rule out choking.
It was not easy, because Nellie wanted to see her daughter, and I had to tell Nellie that there's not going to be an open casket funeral, because she was in bad shape. It was 3 months under the water, under the ice, above the ice, predation, you know, she was in rough shape.
We're just gonna put her to rest, have a decent funeral for her, and just try and continue on. Like, it's gonna be hard, but that's what Barbara would want. She was a fighter right to the end.
Once again, Barbara's case topped local news headlines.
Well, when we have an undercover operation ongoing and there's something that is significant to the file that happens, such as in this case where we've located Barbara and we've now gone public with that information, or at least some of that information, it often is a great opportunity for our undercover operators and the subject to have conversation around it.
And that's exactly what happened, just days after Barbara's body was recovered.
At that time, we were still hanging out with Mr. Abma. Maybe he felt like the police were kind of closing in and that he was feeling his jeopardy. The police had reached out to him and claimed that they had some new evidence or something to that effect and wanted to interview him again. And it was following that he had essentially told myself and another operator that he was involved and responsible for Barbara Iapay's death.
Where'd you meet this broad again?
Renegade Pub.
Okay.
I was a bouncer there, head doorman.
And so, as it always does go, they talk about Mr. Big. They talk about their boss, and that their boss can fix a lot of things in the criminal justice area. Mr. Abma just has to be frank and truthful with the boss so that he knows what the real problem is and how to fix it.
He's a stand-up guy. If anybody can help him, he's the guy, right?
But he'll be honest with you too. He'll tell you straight up if he's going to be able to help you. Yeah.
According to Mr. Abma, they had consensual sex, and then afterwards he went the driver home, and at that point in time he said that Miss Iapay accused him of, in his words, of raping her. He said that he did not want that allegation of rape. He knew somebody that had been charged previously and what that person went through, and he didn't want to go through the same thing. So I think he used the words getting rid of the problem or taking care of the problem or something to that effect. From that, he said that he ended up driving down Highway 797 down to a body of water where he had killed Miss Iapay and discarded her into the river.
Abma told officers that a trucker likely saw Barbara as she tried to escape out the passenger door of his truck.
The truck passed and she's all hanging out the window. Well, not hanging out the window, but and had the door open, right?
Your truck passed?
Truck passed me.
So somebody maybe saw that? Is that what?
That's what they saw.
Okay, so she's
grabbed her, pulled
she's
her back
fighting
in the
to
truck,
jump out?
Wham! On the floor, slammed the door shut. 2 times I choked her, and the 3rd time I made sure I finished it.
Holdback is so important in really any investigation, but certainly investigations like this. And in this particular case, what we had was Abma talking to undercover operators, and he confessed to the crime. He confessed to murdering Barbara. But on top of that, there's what I would call a reverse holdback. There was the information that was in the article about a female trying to get out of a passenger window of the truck on Glenmore Trail. And we know that that's not what happened. And in fact, Abma was adamant that that's not what happened. And he told the undercover operators, actually, she was trying to get out of the door. A female trying to get out of the door of that truck, we had never told anybody, we had never released to the media. And so, but he was adamant that the information about the window was inaccurate. And he was right, it was inaccurate. That became very, very crucial to corroborating his confession.
At one point, Abma drew a map for undercover officers to better describe the route he had taken after they left the bar.
Drove around Langdon, come down the hill, and choked her through the pond. And the story. Ran out of gas on the way to the gas station in Langdon, had to gas up, pushed my truck to the gas station to get gas.
And nothing in your truck at all?
Nothing. They searched the truck. The truck's clean.
Oh, did they?
Only thing that can leak me back is the woman where I got gas. That's the only thing.
He had ran out of gas near Langdon, and that he had pushed his truck either up to the gas station or near the gas station. He described the gas attendant, and he also described telling us a story about how he told this gas attendant that he was out there looking for a fifth wheel trailer that he sold to two guys from Newfoundland that didn't pay him.
They tracked down the lady that was working at the gas station at the time that Abma stopped there, got a statement from her, and yes, she confirmed that he was there, described his vehicle and him, and got his name because she had asked for it.
It was pretty clear that this was a legitimate confession.
Have you told anybody else about this?
The only people in the world that know this are the three men in the room right here right now.
Welcome back. 3.5 months after Barbara Ayapace disappeared, the search sadly ended in heartbreak. Her body was recovered from a river, downstream in fact from where a semi-truck driver saw her trying to escape. Then, a confession in a Mr. Big sting operation. But would there be justice for Barbara? Here now is Nancy Hixt with a conclusion of Last Call.
Every day I put an X down that I hadn't heard nothing, I haven't seen nothing.
Nellie Ayapace had marked 100 X's on her calendar until her daughter was found.
The 17th, that was the last day I was with my girl. 100 days exactly, yeah.
It was the hardest thing in my life, especially the first 100 days, till they recovered her body. Just drove me crazy every day.
Just days later, on May 3rd, 2002, Fred Abma was arrested.
I just put a big X on there that charges were laid down. They said, we got good news, we found the guy, we've arrested him. The first thing that went through my mind was, my girl, you can rest now. We found her, we found your killer, you know, whoever hurt you, we found him. You can rest.
But he admitted everything. You know, he confirmed it with the little things too. It wasn't just the admission to the undercover guys. It was, you know, telling us exactly what the truck driver saw. No one else knew that. Found a cell phone on the passenger side floor of his truck. Had 911 dialed on it. How long was this girl alive? And she knew she was going to die. She was trying to get out of the truck when they crossed 22X. She knew it wasn't good. Imagine the fear.
It's a relief to finally know that someone that can commit this type of a crime is off the streets and is going to be facing a trial.
Even after the damning confessions, investigators continued to search for further evidence. They returned to the shore of the Bow River, hoping to find Barbara's clothing.
If they were located, for instance, it might even give us a better understanding of what happened those moments leading up to her death.
And then I kept working on it, trying to just tie up loose ends and stuff, and I went back and talked to the original person that gave us the alibi on May 5th, and he recanted everything and said no, Abma had threatened him and told him he had to tell us that he was there.
I think it's a horrendous situation. You have this young woman that was out having a good time with family and then with friends, is looking to get a ride home, had money stolen from her so she couldn't take a cab, is looking for a ride home, and she gets a ride from somebody that, although off duty at the time, works at that bar and works as a bouncer, works as a security person for that bar. And I have no doubt that she trusted him even just by his job.
In October of 2003, almost 2 years after Barbara Ayapace went missing, her accused killer, Fred Abma, stood trial in front of a judge alone.
So the theory of the Crown and of the investigator is that Abma had plenty of time to plan out what he was going to do, that it was about a 30-minute drive, and during that time that he had planned out that he was actually going to kill Barbara and dispose of her. And so he was ultimately charged for first-degree murder.
The key evidence in this case was the Mr. Big confessions, and I say plural confessions. because he had told the two friends that he'd made, and then he told Mr. Big the same story. And that was the key evidence against him. His testimony was that he had dropped her off at her house, as he'd said, and that there was somebody in a car that had followed them from the bar, and the last he saw of her was there. And then later he hears that she's missing. And the police want to question him. He hits the panic button and says, I made a false alibi up because I was the last one who was with her.
After 6 weeks of evidence, Fred Adma was convicted of first-degree murder.
And the judge looked at all of the evidence, including the confessions by Mr. Adma to the undercover police officers, and said, I have no reason to doubt these. It makes sense that the body could have been dumped where Mr. Adma said, and that it flowed downstream because the river, ice was melting, the river was flowing. The truck driver who saw this pair of naked legs hanging out the vehicle with the distinctive left tail light out and the same type of vehicle. All of that added up, all of these little pieces. The fact that Mr. Adma had gone for gasoline and even given his name to the gas attendant very near where he says the body was put into the river. All of that circumstantially became overwhelming. The judge found it was planned and deliberate, that he had planned to kill her while he was driving, which meant an automatic life sentence with parole ineligibility of 25 years.
Barbara's parents left court feeling some relief.
Oh, she was the apple of our eye, I'll tell you. She was my only daughter. At least we get some kind of closure on this now.
We can't let this destroy us. We can't.
But in the end, that's exactly what Fred Adma did to Barbara's family. Nellie Iapace passed away in 2010.
She wasn't the same. She just lost all the will for anything after that.
He destroyed our family.
That's pretty nerve-wracking even telling you guys this.
Other than in the Mr. Big sting operation, Fred Adma has never admitted to killing Barbara Iapace and never expressed remorse.
Yeah, everybody knows it except him. I don't know why. You know, if he said he was sorry, you know, had a little remorse, actually I probably wouldn't say, well, give the guy another chance. But when I hear he has no remorse, oh, jeez, that sickens me in a roundabout way. I'm scared for other people. I'm scared if he ever gets out, that it could happen again. That's what I worry about. I don't want to save another girl, another family.
As Barbara's father battles cancer, he can't help but feel robbed of time and precious memories he could have had with his daughter.
I just love her smile. I do miss my girl. Everybody missed her. That word closure, there's no such thing as closure. I wish there was, but there's not. Sometimes I just hear a tune that I knew Barbara liked. Tear might come to my eyes. You know, she was a great daughter.
Fred Adma remains in prison and runs several online pages proclaiming his innocence. In 2020, he requested a ministerial review of his case. However, officials determined there was no reasonable basis to conclude a miscarriage of justice occurred. As of the release of this episode, he has been denied day and full parole. After her death, a donation was made in Barbara's name, contributing to a scholarship fund at Bow Valley College, awarded to students enrolled in the practical nursing program. Thank you for joining us tonight on Crime Beat. I'm Anthony Robart. Want more episodes of Crime Beat? Listen to the Crime Beat podcast now for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcast. And for past episodes of Crime Beat, go to the Global TV app, visit globaltv.com, or check out our Crime Beat YouTube page.